Temple. Ah, yes. Sean, another. Let's finish.
Oh, it's not close positions.
Close
It is
positions.
MLG-esque as possible. We have Dignitas Select spawning in the north position as the blue Terran pieces, and in the right, Christopher Loranger, Liquid Huk as the red Protoss.
Now, this is going to mean close by air, which really, I got to say, is going to favor Select because he loves doing those drops, and we're going to have to see if he can actually utilize them in his favor. At the same time, Huk has got to be very accustomed to defending against those. He plays over on the Korean server, which is probably, if not, it's definitely one of the best, if not the best server to practice on, but it's also one of the most aggressive servers to practice on. Everyone over there is super, super aggressive. Looks like the players are a little bit sad. I'm not sure what about
We see the official likely referring to those spikes that we were seeing earlier, but again, the players are permitted to pause at any point and get an official ruling from the ref as to what they want to be doing. We do see Huk continuing to chrono boost his probes. No player has requested a pause yet. There is the first gateway planting. By the main, we also see it's fairly tightly packed to the geyser, but still a little bit of space for that movement in.
And there is the racks come down for Select. He has not started a refinery just yet. He's actually about to start that 14th drone. So maybe a 1 racks expand coming out of the Terran player from Dignitas. We'll have to wait and find out. Select is going to send his probe cross map. Not even scouting down there at the 6 o'clock position because you might think that this is not regular Shatter Temple, or he just might think that maybe my opponent's cross map. He has that spider sense tingling or pointing him that direction, as you so eloquently said the other day.
Well, you know, Huk has actually done this since the early days of beta, regularly just stopping by this Xel'Naga watchtower just to make sure that there's no sort of goofy proxies going on. Maybe 1 out of every 300 games someone will be there, but, you know, you can avoid a loss in that spot. Again, Select not going to mess with his opening anymore. Instead, just going to go for that early expand and rely more on big changes in the mid-game to his build. Huk is getting that early assimilator. Looks like we're going to see that Korean-esque opening, the very fast 3-gate sentry emphasis. He could, though, do some sort of Void Ray gimmick to bust down Select's front door.
If you're actually new to the StarCraft 2 esports scene, you can see Select on the left side in the bottom portion of the screen, and on the right side in the blue will be Team Liquid's very own Huk. So if you want to follow around when a huge play happens and look and see what the player's reaction is, go ahead and feel free to do that. In the meantime, jumping back into the game, we do see that command center being put down in Select's main. 2 Marines are hot on a trail here of a probe of Liquid Huk's. They've heard of the probery that Huk does do in these games and very, very annoyed already. They're going to try to take him out.
We see the extra barracks now being planted for Dignitas Select. Again, no big changes to this opening. He really likes the 3 barracks fast medevac play. It almost guarantees a solid opening. There's a couple of tricky spots in the early game, but of course Select is very experienced, can deal with that. Probe Scout heading out for Liquid Huk. Curious to see when will that Nexus go down. It looks like it's just now saving up money to do it. Looks like it's going to be a 1-gate expand. Again, with the heavy emphasis on sentries to rip up those Marine Marauder troops.
There are 2 more racks being added on, as well as taking both gases at the same time. Go over into Huk space. There is the Nexus going down at the natural. He does have 1 sentry already out. A 2nd sentry just popping out of that gateway. Still very, very high on the gas count. Might be seeing some tech coming out of Huk here in just a couple seconds. Another gateway. The 3rd gateway. Is he going to throw down a robo, or is he just going to keep producing sentries? It looks like the sentry is going to be his unit of choice.
Stalker now popping out into the center of the map. A incredible amount of energy on that Nexus.
Whoa.
An insane amount of energy. Just now hitting 100. It is not characteristic for Huk to just be like, LOL, forgot to build stuff, my bad. We see him chrono boosting out the gateway to the cybernetics, excuse me, the warp gate for the gateways. But again, that's very unusual. I want to keep an eye on that to see how he ends up spending it. He could begin flooding gateway units very shortly.
You see the command center from Select has lifted and about to land over there at the natural. Does have a bunker already up at the top of his ramp. 2nd bunker is going to be built down there on the lower ground right outside of his natural. moving forward with a couple of Marines. Doesn't intend to actually use those to do any attack here anytime soon. Just wants to make sure he can deny any probes that do come his way. The Stalker still sitting there in the Xel'Naga tower in the center. Of course, it is a very fast unit. Can pick off any Marines if they do come out in a small number. Jumping back over into Huk's base, he already has a ton of sentries in place here at the very back. He's very...
Wow!
Very looking forward to actually seeing Select drop here pretty soon. Our starport has been started. It's only about halfway complete, though.
Well, this is all very unusual. It looks like it's the 3-gate fast observer. This is a style of play that OGS MC does constantly, and if you think about it, Liquid Huk leaves the Stalker at the front, and if he sees a push at the front, then he pulls all of the sentries back. And in the same vein, any scan that lands will see nothing of that unit composition. Select now lifting up that starport shortly to do the push. We see, oh no, a Stalker gets picked off in the middle. Not what Huk wanted.
And Huk is actually thinking about moving out, maybe. At least moving his Stalkers out there. Looks like only one will... maybe chase that Marine. Nope, just wants to control the Xel'Naga tower. We do have one observer placed right here at the choke south of Select's natural. Factory being lifted off, which is very typical of Terran players to do because they don't utilize it that much. Second observer here and a big engagement between two
the
players.
sentries cutting everything off guard. These Marines getting caught by this weird flagpole. The factory in the middle of the map. Ooh, this can be a big problem as time progresses to not have the ability to make any starports should any sort of big tech be en route. We do see now Select will not be able to go on the offensive. He is just in a battle to stay alive right now. Losing this factory, even though Huk maybe could have busted down the front door, at least he guarantees some damage by taking this down.
Sure, the medevacs do pop out there from the starport. Double observer now in both the natural and the main base of Select, and that factory will burn. Huk will not try to save it. He could drop down a mule, but not sure if he really wants to save the factory that much, as they are very, very important. Stem pretty close to being finished here. Twilight Council very close to being finishing as well, and a ton of buildings actually being put down. 3 new gateways. Forge about to finish. He most certainly will be getting that armor upgrade here very, very soon. And what is he going to use his Twilight Council for? It is going to be that charge research.
I would have thought he would lean towards Blink given these very, very close positions. But of course, there's nothing wrong with the Speed Zealot play. Always a very powerful choice. We see a lot of medevacs out on the map right now doing some a little bit of loading, unloading. Select, as we've seen, again, it's these mid-game changes that Select is incorporating. It's not how am I going to rearrange the building at the start. It's in what order am I going to be moving these medevacs around. And attacks at the front, nothing wrong with those at all. In fact, hitting it right before the Zealot with leg speed can finish up.
Now, talking with Select before this tournament even, he said he knows the timing of the charge and knows exactly when to attack quite often. We saw Huk starting down here on these destructible rocks with sentries, and it looks like he's going to go back now with the added benefit of having some zealots, but this could be very, very bad. Select is moving forward with a small force of 3 medevacs. He could definitely go in and start knocking out these sentries. There's an observer, though. The Stalkers are back in the main base. What is Select looking to do with this attack? Might just be a big distraction for a drop coming in, but Huk does have some Stalkers moving out. And will he be able to pick this off? Select, not really sure if he wants to commit right now.
It does look like Huk, though, with saving up all that chrono boost on his Nexuses, was able to get the fastest Zealot with leg speed that I have ever seen. The medevac looks like it takes 1 bit of damage, but there are now 3 gateways planted. There is the infantry weapon. The Ghost Academy is done, and the really fast third Select doing something similar to what we saw before, continuing to try to deny a 4th base, but ooh. Archons, or as I like to call them, Archons.
I call him the big marshmallow puff guy.
That is also an adequate description of their abilities.
See Huk taking the 3rd base now here down in the corner. Select did just drop a couple seconds ago to try and take that out. Those Zealots with the charge upgrade as well as the Protoss armor +1 would definitely be too much. You see him unload down here in the middle of the map. Observers are just all over the place for Huk, and they are really paying so much, or paying for themselves so well here, just scouting almost everything that Select has been trying to throw at Huk.
What's crazy to me is how many planetary fortresses are instead being turned into orbital commands. Throughout this tournament, we've seen Major, we've seen Select do this. Pretty much every single time players are throwing down that that orbital command. They are comfortable protecting themselves in center mid of the map. Very uncommon to see that, but Select really knows where he's at. Spots the observer, takes it down. And Huk is actually looking a little bit concerned, has a very defensive High Templar placement.
One of the scariest things for Terran players who want to utilize this bio play is that Psionic Storm, and it is almost complete here. That, of course, will just do way too much damage to those Marines. You might see even a huge shift over to Marauders. You see a big drop here trying to snipe the Nexus, but it will not actually happen. Will we be able to lose? No, those
we do see
will
that
stay there.
That blink was not done yet. The level 2 armor is getting close to finish, though.
Ooh, and the Ghost Sean have just come out here for Select. They don't have enough to EMP just yet. Mobius Reactor is not being researched, but they will be able to build up enough energy. Is Huk going to actually engage before
Oh no,
the
I
EMP?
don't think Select realizes. Looks like,
no.
There's the big hits. How is Select going to play this off? When will he realize that the Mobius Reactor wasn't researched?
And Huk is going to be moving in. He scans, sees the army,
Oh,
starts to split his forces. He gets that feedback, misses a big EMP there. Does have 3 storms right now. Another feedback onto that Ghost. He's going to try once more. Another Misty. Well,
another missed feedbacks. I mean, we're just waiting with bated breath to see if he can land a feedback, but no, the storms land. And Select still is not researched that critical upgrade. Another storm. The Ghosts continue to press forward, and there's the Blink Stalkers sprinting up to greet the Ghosts, and the army from Select is suddenly looking very small. The drop going down in the bottom right is doing decent damage, but can he stay alive against this push?
Now, this is actually pretty remarkable. Huk actually losing a lot of Stalkers here for no reason. Might be trying to clear up some supply. At the same time, though, if you go into unit counting stations, 70 SCVs out for Select, 62 for Huk. If Select makes any more SCVs, he will be using precious supplies. Both players are quickly approaching that 200 cap.
And Select having ridiculous income at this point in time. And oh no, we see Cloak getting researched before Mobius Reactor! That is literally really bad. I mean, I cannot emphasize to anyone enough how much of a mistake that is for Select. That's going to be the difference between being able to be aggressive and then having to sit around patiently to build up that energy while Protoss takes base after base after base. But now with this gold going up, there's a timing where Select can push before it gets momentum going.
Another thing that he might be weary of is the fact that second robotics facility is coming down with the robotics bay. If you can get Colossus out on the field, that is one of the hardest unit counters or unit compositions to actually counter this huge amount of Zealots with Storm, with the Colossus added in. It just does so much damage. It drops coming in from Select, but doing that much damage.
And now we have the scary time force for Select again. It's popping up right before the Nexus is going to get done. Where are the Zealots and Archons? Oh no, everything's in the back of the base. And it looks like the Archons might be a little bit too clustered up at the front. Select's going to have to be spot on with his Ghost control.
Looks like he's waiting for the Cloak to finish it. It is going to finish in about 5 seconds. This Colossus, I believe, might be chrono boosted. Actually, no, not at the moment. But we have some High Templars leading the charge here. Oh, he gets 1 EMP, and wow, actually a Storm went after that. That thing had quite a bit of energy.
But now we see the Cloak is done. There are no observers in sight. He'll be able to cloak, and he don't even need to use Stipe. He can just right-click on those High Templar one at a time, but he might just need to save everything up. There's the big EMP. Some huge EMPs go off. Obliterating this army. But there are so many speed zealots there. We see Select trying to kite as best he can. Select's macro really kicking into overdrive. Oh my goodness. Select stays max. Huk drops a full 50 supply. Extended thermal lance is not yet done being researched. Armor +3 not done. Select using the force fields to his own advantage. Incredible play by Select.
Good
and there's
game.
the good game.
Sean, the biggest and most pivotal point of that attack was that the Colossus literally just came out of those robotics facilities. And as soon as they did, that was right when Select decided to push. Those huge EMPs won him that game, and the fact that he got in there before a huge amount of Colossus could actually get out of those robotics facilities. That was great play from the Dignitas player, Select, and he's got to be happy with that win over one of the best Protoss players in North America and also in the world.
Yeah, played a great game, really solid defense, and there was a very tenuous moment there where that frickin' Mobius reactor was not researched, and Huk could have broken in, done a lot of damage, but Select just had barely enough. And again, it's not that opening that was really amazing.